Welcome back, friends. This is Lisa Colon-Delay, the host of the Spark My Muse podcast, and today I'm bringing you a reading from my friend Robert, the contemplative. He writes on Substack as Musings from a Broken Heart. In his profile section, it reads, "A bit about me. Black, Christian, but not the Fox News kind. I write, study theology. Right now, much of it is at the intersection of disability, soft masculinity, as well as Black and womanist theology. Compose and play music, and I podcast." If you've been listening to my program for any length of time or reading my blog and so forth, you know that Robert and I have joined forces and partnered, and he's been on the podcast before, and I've been on his Black Coffee and Theology podcast, and I'm a friend of those three Black men on the Three Black Men podcast. And so when he asked me to be a part of a series he was doing, I thought, what a great chance to read some of his work to you. And if you don't know him, this is your opportunity to subscribe to his Substack. As usual, I will link to the piece in full for you to read it on your own. Sometimes it's better to see it than just hear it. And in this piece, there is a beautiful picture I would describe as a tiny boat or vessel on the water that is kind of a hazy purple that moves into an orangey gradient of a sunset, perhaps. This piece is called "I Do Not Dream of Labor, a Restful Musing," originally published July 7th, 2024. Dreams are a powerful thing, a dangerous tool. When put side by side with the way reality fills up a room. I'm often asked what my dream job is. If I could have anything to do in this world, what type of job would I want to work? I am always perplexed because, if I'm honest, nothing. I heard a quote sometimes attributed to James Baldwin, sometimes to others years ago, that says, quote, "I do not dream of labor," unquote. This struck me to my core because for most of my young adult life and early 30s, I was obsessed with collapsing myself into the box marked vocation and, quote, calling, unquote. I wondered what my purpose in life could be. It was never clear to me, although for some reason I wanted to be a marine biologist as a young child. I have never felt passionate about a calling. I simply wanted to exist. I wanted to be happy. I wanted to love people. I wanted to be safe. I wanted to have the bookcases that I saw in Beauty and the Beast. In my wildest dreams, I am, quote, lazy, unquote. I'm given the permission to lie down when my body is tired. I'm happiest because I go in and out of nature enjoying the earth. I laugh with my friends for hours over a meal. I drink wine. I go on runs in the most beautiful places. I play piano for hours with a love song on my lips. I read in a coffee shop until I fall asleep on the table. In my dreams, children are safe. Maybe my naive is showing. And some will push back and say, if a man doesn't work, he shouldn't eat. And I suppose I don't know what to tell you. Labor has always been so infused with normalcy that we are stuck. Toil seems to be our portion in this life. I'm sorry that this reality has pressed in on you to the point that divesting from labor feels like violence. I truly am. But these are my dreams. I ponder why humans, in any way that they chose to, but they willingly chose and choose to exploit, to dominate, to commodify. This world is someone's dream, whether we like it or not. How frightening. No, my dreams aren't for labor. I dream of being left alone to be mediocre and happy. I dream of days looking at the sun and whispering to God. I dream of dying naive one day, happy, with a smile lightly sketched upon my beautiful brown skin. There's a footnote. I am praying and dreaming of life beyond labor today. I hope that for a little you can escape with me. There's a footnote that he wanted to be a marine biologist as a young child, and that footnote goes to, this dream of being a marine biologist is made funnier by the fact that I can't swim and was not great in science. I have no idea where I got this notion from, but it was a strong impulse as a young child. And that was I Do Not Dream of Labor, a Restful Musing by Robert the Contemplative from his Substack, Musings from a Broken Heart. Also included in this piece is a conversation with a native son, Maya Angelou and James Baldwin, and it looks to be possibly from maybe the early 80s or the late 70s by the looks of the wardrobe that they're wearing, and it was something I had seen clips of in the past but never got to see the entire interview. When I share the link for Robert's piece, you'll get to view for yourself this conversation with a native son. Really worth the watch. James Baldwin and Maya Angelou discuss about writing, despair, death, politics, the Black experience, being a Black American, his living in Paris and then coming back, the importance of his family. And the way they speak is the slowed down way that people spoke before the internet came along, which is a really refreshing thing for me to engage with. And I hope that you'll be interested in hearing it too. As I reflect on what Robert shares in this piece, I am struck by what he mentions, that we are all sort of connived in our culture to think that our worth is attached directly to what we do and how much we produce. Our value is determined by that in our own hearts and in our culture. Often the first thing people say when they meet you is, "What do you do?" And who we are is so much more than how we might pay the bills. What Robert longs for is a life beyond labor, beyond merely producing, being commodified. He says, I simply wanted to exist. I wanted to be happy. I wanted to love people. I wanted to be safe. I wanted to have the bookcases that I saw in Beauty and the Beast. I think a lot of us can relate to that, wanting to be relieved of the rat race that is forced on us, and that we think we have to include ourselves in to make it work, or to make a living, or to feel worthy. We feel like we have to have a platform or a brand, or that we have to produce in some way that impresses people. And Robert's reminder to us, by his own thinking, his own life, his own way of being, is that he wants to enjoy existing. He calls it being lazy, but that's really a way of contrasting how we typically see living, just existing and being happy where we are and content in our own existing, is by many considered lazy. It's a strange perversion, but in his wildest dreams, he says, I am lazy because I am given the permission to lie down when my body is tired. I am happiest when I go in and out of nature, enjoying the earth. I laugh with my friends for hours over a meal. I drink wine. I go on runs in the most beautiful places. I play piano for hours with a love song on my lips. I read in a coffee shop until I fall asleep on the table. In my dreams, children are safe. And maybe not just children, I would add. Maybe all of us, our inner child. Maybe one day we can live and exist and be in a way that feels truly safe. Thank you, Robert, for permission to read your work. I'm grateful to be a little in your orbit, to learn from you and from your ways of being. I'm delighted that our lives occasionally intertwine in those ways. They're so beautiful to me. Listeners, make sure you subscribe to Robert's Substack so you can get more of his writings and his insights. Till the next episode, I wish all of you blessing and peace.